everyone, and welcome back to The Heir's Lair. I'm your host, aspiring author Jonathan Taylor. Today I'm going to be doing another arc review, this time for A Sea of Pearls and Leaves by Rosalind Breyer. Or is it Rosalind? I don't know, I should have asked. Anyway, this book has some things in common with other books I've reviewed. It is another follow-up on one of the author's previous works. It is another romance-centric follow-up. However, I will say it does function better as a standalone than the other follow-up. And it is a retelling of a classic fantasy story. In this case, a fairy tale. It took me a few chapters to figure out exactly which fairy tale it was retelling, so for that reason I'm going to try to keep the hints to the fairy tale that is being retold to a minimum. I will say this, however, there is something this book has that the others didn't, namely a content warning. A content warning for violence, sexual content, and language. Before I go into the review proper, I'm going to talk about these warnings first. First of all, the one for violence. It's actually mostly pretty tame, all things considered. I think you can take most of the violence that occurs in this book and put them in an R.L. Stein book and no one would bat an eye. So it's PG-13 at most, I have to say. The sexual content, however, that gets graphic, that gets pretty explicit. It doesn't occur, in every second chapter or something like that. It occurs in a few very select places, but whenever it does occur, it does get a lot of focus, and it is described in a lot of detail. That being said, for one, it actually serves the plot. So yeah, the sex has a point. It's not just there's a lull in the plot, I should put a sex scene in there so the reader doesn't get bored. No. The sex scene actually informs the dynamic of the characters. And the second thing is, it is actually very sensual, very tasteful. They are very well done, very intimate, they are very well done and very intimate, very intimate scenes that are also very much laden with chemistry and atmosphere. So in that sense, they are well done, but otherwise quite adult. As for the language, again, not sprinkled throughout every chapter, just here and there, and even then, it's not particularly graphic. So again, it's kind of PG-13 level, I'd say. If what I've said about it so far sounds interesting to you, or if the blurb, link in the description, sounds in any way interesting to you, then I can only go ahead and recommend it to you. You will enjoy it. It is a good book. And I know I've recommended every book I've reviewed so far, but what can I say? Every book I've reviewed so far has been worth recommending. So for that reason, and this one is no exception. Go ahead and read it. Now onto the actual review itself. First thing that stands out is the writing. By that I mean both what is described and how it is described. And in terms of the how, Rosalind has this down to a science. She uses simple words and phrases, but she uses them to express very big ideas and events. It is very immersive in that sense. It is very easy to binge, and it is very interesting and makes for a very appealing read from the first page to the last. So what is being described? Well, the actual plot runs between three storylines. The first one is the one I'll talk the least about because it contains the most spoilers, namely the actual romance part of the book. So I'll mention it exists and it develops. Everything else you'll have to find out for yourselves. The other two that I will mention are the contest storyline between the suitors for Princess Ingrid and the actual murder mystery. I have to say both of these stories are very well paced. Everything that is supposed to happen happens exactly when you need it and delivers exactly the information you require in order to escalate the tension and enhance the mystery. And also, the stories weave into each other very well. What happens in one very much informs the other, or informs the consequences or the setting that affects the other. One thing I didn't like about the plot was how the threat the villain poses tends to escalate quite suddenly last minute during the climax. However, the way the story dials down from the climax all the way to the ending is very interesting and very enjoyable. And the ending itself is quite stellar. I very much enjoyed it. That being said, let's get into the actual characters, and I'm going to start with the three mains who also get every POV chapter. First of all, Princess Ingrid. She is if I were to compare her to a Disney princess, she'd probably most closely resemble Ariel, as in she is very playful, very imaginative, and very determined. She knows what she wants. She knows how to get it. A lot of what she wants is determined on how what she on her wants and desires, on her expectations from her world and her life. And it is very interesting to sift through them and to just spend time in her head. She's a very interesting character. Lilura, her by contrast, is very much the methodical and analytic one. She mostly maintains a stoic facade. She's only really overtly passionate when she is with Ingrid. However, her passion does come through in various other ways. When you see the way she commits herself to various interests and research topics and experiments. So again, another Olden character whose head is also pretty fun to be in. And last but not least, Prince Soren, who is low-key the best character in this book. First thing to mention is he has anxiety, and that anxiety is played very realistically. And by realistically, I mean it's played neither for laughs nor for drama. There is some drama that is getting milked out of his anxiety, mainly melodrama, and some humor. But otherwise, the story and the way his condition is treated in story is very realistic. He's just a guy with a quirk, and he manages to find ways to work around it. I really enjoyed the way he adapts his coping strategies to the setting he finds himself, to a more high-functioning routine. So that makes him very endearing, very relatable. Another thing that contributes to that is his general outlook. And he always wants to do the right thing. That doesn't just mean methodically correct, as in do that which will yield the result of the highest quality, but also morally correct. Do that which is morally right. Do that which will help as many people as possible. So yeah, he is very much the the sweetheart he is supposed to be. And I have no problem saying that as a guy. There is in a Twitter ask, Rosalind mentioned that Ingrid and Milura are also in some sense neuroatypical, but I didn't really see that. When their behavior did come off as atypical, I mainly saw it as melodramatic rather than neuroatypical. Maybe this is just me revealing my unconscious bias, but this was my impression. Also, a lot of other characters are also pretty melodramatic at times. Though I will say the setting is mainly more or less appropriate for that particular reaction. As for the other characters, they don't have inner lives that are as rich or as intricate, or at least if they do, it's not mentioned on the page. But they do all have some very specific drives and desires that are informed by their personalities, and the actions they take are very much in keeping with their personality and with their drives and desires. Rosalind's character work is actually one of the better aspects of this novel. So another thing she does very well. Another thing I enjoyed very much about this. The one large portion about this novel that I'm kind of iffy about is the world building. There is actually a lot about the world building that is fairly good, I'll have to say. The immediate setting of Princess Ingrid and her family is very much in keeping with a particular theme, which I'm kind of trying to emulate with my shirt. And I will applaud Rosalind for the fact that she manages to keep the theme consistent, but also varied enough that potential readers don't really get bored with it. And it does really show up basically everywhere. How people salute each other, how they dress, what the palace looks like, how the palace is adorned, etc., etc. I would have liked to know how big Norla Isle, where the story mainly takes place, is. I would have also liked to know more about the mainland that gets mentioned, as in how many countries there are and how big it is. And maybe something else about the world in general. What puzzles me, however, about the world building is the language. I'm gonna go a bit into some minor spoilers here. Namely, as part of the murder mystery, some characters have to decipher a specific journal, and they figure out that the key to deciphering that journal is a word that is precisely 9 letters long. And when they go through the potential answers for the potential for the words that could potentially decode that journal, I can pretty safely say that all of those words are 9 letters long in English only. This means that all characters are speaking English in spite of the fact that none of them have English names or come from cultures that are in any way distinctively English. And their cultures are very distinct, very well fairly well sketched out, but none of them are English, which is pretty interesting. I will accept the possibility that English in this world serves the same role Latin did in medieval Europe, as in the main language for international affairs, be it trade, be it diplomacy, be it other things. That being said, there are a few words that come up in this language that are not English, and one of them is also used in a formal setting, even though an English word both exists and would make more sense. So yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Maybe the Crown of Bones has the answer to that, but I haven't read that yet, so I really can't say, and it affected my experience with this book. Regardless, Well, there are a few things that about this book that made me tilt my head and question what's going on there. Most of the book is very well done, very competently done, and it holds your attention and brings you through a whirlwind of emotions and a veritable roller coaster of adventure. My final rating for it is 4 stars out of 5. I definitely recommend it for people who like romance, adventure, fantasy, and all connected fields. Thank you very much for your attention. If you have anything you'd like to add, the comment section is available. If you enjoyed this video, then go ahead and give it a like. And if you want to see when the next video comes up, then go ahead and subscribe. Maybe also ring the bell or do whatever else YouTube will require of its users in the future. Until next time, I'm Jonathan Taylor, and this has been The Heir's Lair.